In Somalia, opposition leaders have announced that they no longer recognize the current president, Mohamed Abdullahi Farmaajo. This is after his mandate ended on the 8th of February and talks to resolve an election standoff failed to make headway. Reporting from Mogadishu, here's CGTN's Abdulaziz Billow with more.
Abdurrahman Abdushakur Warsame is a presidential candidate in the upcoming Somali election. Warsame is a strong critic of the current government and is one of several candidates advocating for the removal of President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmaajo from future election talks. That's after talks between regional and federal leaders collapsed last week in the central Somali town of Dusamareb.
He doesn't want any electoral model to be implemented, and he's now seeking extending his mandate from the already expired parliament. So we are against that move, and we want Farmaajo to be excluded from the coming discussion, and being his mandate ended, and he's the obstacle of the process.
On Monday, the mandate of the executive officially expired, with no clear plans on how to conduct parliamentary, Senate and presidential elections. The government has proposed a new round of talks to end the stalemate, but many political parties have opposed that.
Well, we proposed for establishing transitional national council consisting of the federal member states, the opposition candidates, as well as civil society members. So we had that consultation, and we are continue having that consultation with the other stakeholders to form that transitional council, because we regard that transitional council only can safeguard the sovereignty of the nation, that period of transition.
More than a dozen candidates, including former presidents, have announced that they will no longer recognize Mohamed Abdullahi Farmaajo as the Somali president. They've accused him of failing to implement a deal to hold elections. Under the plan, polls will be held in 2 districts in each of the country's 5 regional administrations. Meanwhile, election for lawmakers and senators from Somaliland and the Banadi region will take place in the capital, Mogadishu. The Council of Presidential Candidates now says a new timetable, backed by all political stakeholders, must first be drafted.
It will be a transitional council, chaired by one of the most senior elected politicians or politician among the other stakeholders, and that person will convene a conference between the federal member states and federal government, as well as the presidential candidates, and they will agree a new timetable for the election with the minimum time of agreed by all the stakeholders.
Experts have urged political leaders to prioritize Somalia's interests and avoid possible conflict.
It's time leaders talked about the interest of the public, not their personal interest. It's now the time to end clan-based politics and focus on the bigger picture.
On Wednesday, Somali Prime Minister Mohamed Hussein Roble will address Parliament. The agenda will be to discuss his first 100 days in office. Members of the opposition are worried that Roble will attempt to seek an extension of the mandate for the executive, a move the opposition has warned will lead to a major setback for the country's political progress. Abdulaziz, Billow, CGTN, Mogadishu, Somalia.